Hello and welcome to this episode of Off the Bench. My name is Cliona Foley and this is a podcast about women in sport. It's designed to entertain and inform people about lots of issues about women in sport, both at home and abroad. You can catch our previous episodes on iTunes or on the podcast section of offthebench.com. Or offtheball.com, I should say. We normally change format and this time we have something different for us. This time it's going to be a Camogie special because the National League, Littlewoods National League semi-finals are coming up this weekend. So we have people in studio, and as I introduce them, I'm going to point out this is the first time there's ever been an all-women panel in the Off the Ball studio. So woohoo for that and woohoo for Off the Bench. On my left first is Ashling Thompson. I would say redoubtable, unstoppable, a warrior Camogie player from Cork, All-Ireland, reigning All-Ireland champions. Beside her is Shelley Farrell from the reigning National League champions, Kilkenny. A flying forward is the best description probably. And then we have two Sarahs down at the far end here, Sarah Dervan from Galway and Sarah Carey from Limerick, who I would say are two of the best defenders. The semi-finals of the Littlewoods National League Division 1 are on Sunday, March the 11th, and you can get a live stream of it on Littlewood Ireland's Facebook page, and also you can follow the hashtag Style of Play on all the social media if you want to get any Camogie news. That's always there, so it's hashtag Style of Play. So first of all, everybody, welcome to Off the Bench. It's the first Camogie special. Yeah. And I know it's early in the morning, but hang in there and we'll get through it. The league semi-finals are on Sunday, Division 1, and you're going to be playing each other. It's Limerick, Cork, Kilkenny, Galway. But Off the Bench tries to do something a little bit different. So we like to talk about female athletes. What are the challenges they face? What are their lives like? And it's really relevant because tomorrow is International Women's Day, and next Sunday when you're playing is actually Mother's Day. And my favourite feminist saying is, well-behaved women don't make history. So always remember that as athletes. I think that's an important one to remember. We'll start really, I suppose, thinking about powerful women. And you're four powerful women. And I'm really interested to know, who are the powerful women that inspire you, either as athletes or as people? Ashling, powerful women that have been a force in your life.
I'd say probably one of the biggest influences would have been my mother from a young age. I never really kind of had that one sports person that I looked to. I love to follow multiple, sports people, successful sportswomen. Yeah. But I'd say the one influence, and the most powerful woman, I suppose, that kind of had an impact on my career was my mother. And
your mum's name is?
Sheila.
Sheila. And did Sheila play sport?
She did, yeah. She played, in her time it was more football and hockey. Right. And she was an athlete as well, so I
think you might have got some of the genes.
I definitely got my athletic side from her, but my dad was a hurler, so that's kind of
so it came from both sides of the family. Yeah. Shelley, you live in a family full of powerful women. Three of you, Anna, yourself and Meg, are on the Kilkenny Camogie team and have won All-Irelands with Kilkenny. But who inspires you in life as a powerful woman, if you like? And it doesn't even have to be an athlete maybe, but who are the strong role models for you?
I'd have to say my mother as well. She was always there when we were younger, and she was there with us the whole way up in Camogie. She was training us the whole way up.
So she's involved in the club in Thomastown?
Yeah, she would be. She'd be involved when we were young, from under 8s the whole way up.
Right.
And going to Failas and everything. She brought us to community games, Failas. So
everybody's nodding their heads. You've all been here.
Yeah. She was always there anyway, and with the senior club as well, and my auntie Olive with the senior club, she was a great influence with us.
Who has been a mentor with the club as well?
Yeah, she'd be my mum's twin, so
go away.
Yeah, so it's great to have him. And Mum played camogie when she was younger as well,
right,
with Thomastown, and I think she played underage with Kilkenny, so
you've had female coaches, which not everybody has as well, which is really interesting.
Yeah,
to see women coaching. Do you think it's a slightly different thing?
I think maybe they could be looked at different from the outside, but I think they give just as much effort as male coaches would, and even more. They might be able to understand you more because they'd be going through the same things as a woman. So it's great to have them there on your side.
Great. So 2 mums already. Sarah, what about you?
Well, I suppose a very powerful would be obviously my mother. she wouldn't be a past Camogie player. I think she tried it, but she didn't, continue on. She was involved with me under 10, but she's my number one supporter, and we have 2 foster kids that she has dedicated her life to that, as well as
it's amazing. You have 2 older brothers, and then you have 2 younger sisters who your parents fostered. Your mum is Ita, isn't she?
Yeah. So it's a busy house.
Wow.
Yeah. So but my mum she'd follow me to the world and back, like she'd go anywhere, hence she's around Dublin today.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we have to admit, Sarah got dropped at the door by her mother, who's now headed off across the city.
Yeah.
So anything for a trip.
Anything for a trip, but like she's always, picks you up when I'm down, and she's always my number one advocate. Like she'd be always telling me, to stay going, and if I had a bad day, she'd be constantly encouraging me.
Yeah.
Then from the sports side of things, I've always looked up to the likes of Kate Kelly, would be always a huge follower. Yeah. Therese Maher from Galway.
Yeah.
Anne-Marie Hayes, Sinead Cahallan, them kind of people. Determined women that you'd know on the field that they fight and they give their heart and soul to the game, and they're just very, in my eyes, they're very strong, powerful women.
And Sarah Carey, what about you?
Yeah, like that, my mother as well, but my own clubmate Vera Sheehan, I've always looked up to her since I remember. She was the first Camogie player I ever knew, going to watch them play in Club All Ireland. Like, she was just so inspiring, and still lucky to play with her today.
She's still playing. Amazing athlete. Yeah. So she was the one to play with her.
She was the one always. Yeah, I remember going to her house and poking off the farmyards, and I remember we'd great crack.
So that got you in. And do you? I mean, I'm interested, Ashling, do you, as an athlete, do you have to have female role models, or does it matter as long as you have, a standard and something to aspire to?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think both men and women have male and female people that they aspire to be, and they take certain things from them, and people have certain characteristics and traits about them, and that's what you take away from it. Like you've Conor McGregor and all these people, and I take certain things from that, like, and just kind of like the way he's worked himself so much to going from zero to hero. Like I know he kind of brings that.
Yeah.
Like, some people love him, some people hate him.
But I'll tell you a good one. I'm just back to the Winter Olympics, and I got into a taxi in the middle of nowhere in 3 hours from Seoul in a small town, and the guy asked me where I was from, and I said Ireland, and he looked at me and he said Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well, that's cool. Like, he's known all over the world now, like hanging around with celebrities and stuff, and I'm not saying that's kind of what I take from it, but it's just I love to see that. I love to see people that came from nothing, to get all the way up to the top. Like, they do bring, and especially UFC fighters, boxers, they have to have that, way about them. They have to be cocky, like, but I just love anyone that kind of...
Yeah, it doesn't have to be women. I don't think it has to be women. It's funny that so many of you should mention your mothers, and as I said, it is Mother's Day on Sunday when you're going to be playing, but Sarah Carey, this has a particular resonance for you. So tell us, why has Mother's Day a special resonance for you?
I have a little boy now. He's 1.5.
Wow.
He's gassed. He's just crazy now at the moment.
He's moving.
He's moving. Yeah, his first.
Not a good idea.
No, he had his first hurl incident there last week. Bought my parents a TV for Christmas last year, 53-inch, and he put the hurley through it.
Oh,
so we're on the lookout now at the moment for another one.
Nicky.
Yeah, the hurley's only this size. I destroyed it.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And your boyfriend and his dad is also a hurler.
Tom Condon. Yeah, he's playing for Limerick now at the moment as well. So
would you tell us, please?
Crazy.
How are you an intercounty? Like, do any of your teams have mums on them? Anybody playing with you that has a child?
I don't know how you do it. Like, it's
so tell us how you do it.
Well, we've great support network around us. Like, my family are unreal. Like, and Joe, you're not going to be playing camogie for your whole life. You're not going to have the opportunity to play for your county forever. So,
2 words: sleep deprivation.
Yeah, you get through it though. You get so immune to it. Like, you just get used to it.
When you had him, you obviously had to take a break from camogie.
Yeah, I actually found out late when I was pregnant. I was in the middle of playing league actually, so I finished in February, and I had him in September, and we were in the county final with the club then in October, and I swore I wouldn't play. Like, so I think we weren't expected to win the semi-final at all. So I remember getting a Snapchat off the girls,
saying, "Get the gear out."
Get the gear, and I wasn't even sure if I was registered. Like, so we got onto it straight away. And I just came on for the last 10 minutes of the county final.
And how old was Nicky?
He was 4 weeks. Yeah.
Holy moly, mother of God!
But it was a moment of madness. Like, I think everyone would do it. Like, you know,
did you win the county final?
We won. Yeah, it was worth it.
It was worth it. Oh.
Yeah.
But in terms of logistics, like all of you, like Shelley, you know, you're a trainee accountant. You have to go to class 2 nights a week, don't you, as well? So, like, you can understand how difficult it is just to get in and get out to train and do your work and get all that kind of stuff done, don't you?
Yeah, it's just fair play to you. I don't know how you'd have the time even, but sure, the time to... I'd be in college now 2 nights a week, so from 7 till 10 in the night, Mondays and Wednesdays, so then training the days you wouldn't be in college, so it's tough, but sure, like, you do it for the love of the game, you know, you make time for it. And
is there ever a day where you go, oh, bloody hell, no, I'm going to throw a sickie here?
No, you'd think it maybe, but you'd never do it.
And Downey won't take ciggies. No. Or she'd be checking up with the other 2 sisters going, where is she? And what about you, Sarah? What do you work at?
I'm working mechanics, so I'm a continuous improvement intern. So I'm in the Lean Sigma department. So it's kind of improving processes for quality, service and cost. So
that's in Galway City.
In Galway City, yeah, and Parkmore. So yeah, it's like every job. You're up at 6:30 in the morning and home at 5:15, and you know, go to training. But as Shelley said, you just do it. You get on with it. It's normal. It's probably not normal not to be going training.
Is that what it is, that you've grown up with it so long that it's pure automatic?
What do with your spare time? She wouldn't.
No, not get me wrong. I completely enjoyed the few snow days we had.
Yeah, snow days.
Watched telly most of the day and didn't move. So you know, that was great for a little bit of recovery and recuperation, and to set you going again for the week. But it's just normal, and I don't know if you'd have life without it, really, to be honest.
And Sarah, Carey, I remember when Sonia O'Sullivan had her first child and she came back and she said it actually made her a better athlete, not just because physically she felt stronger, but she said she was more organised. She said, I don't faff around anymore, I haven't time. You know, my day is scheduled like that. You're still in college?
Yeah, I went back to my final year there in September, so I have 2 months left and I can't wait.
Nearly there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you must have to how do you organise your day, and how do you manage childcare?
Like that, just get up early. But it can really easily go wrong if, you know, coming out the door you have a dirty nappy, your whole day would go like, oh my god. But you just get so used to it, you're in a routine. I have an amazing childminder, and Nicky just loves her. Just like the minute we pull into the house, and estate is gone out of the car, so I'm very lucky that way, you know. He's not clinging on to me or anything. And he's a great kid. He's easy managed. He goes off with anyone. Like, my family fight over him. I'm very lucky that way. He was the first grandchild on my side, so
fantastic.
Yeah.
And I bet the teammates are probably fighting over him as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he's great.
Well,
crack.
yeah, but and what nights do you train and what nights does Tom train, and how do you manage all of that?
We'd be training the same nights. Nicky would go down to bed around 7, so I leave the house at 6:30. Someone just throws them down to bed. I'm living at home now at the moment until I finish college, hopefully. So just be organised. One of my brother and my parents would throw him down to bed. Yeah.
And Tom is probably out training. He says he's now training the same nights.
Yeah, the exact same nights. Yeah, and like that, he's a game on Sunday now as well. So
I was just going to say, as this child grows up, whose match does he go to? Or do you just have to alternate it on weekends?
Yeah, well, he's with my mother, so Tom would have a match most days, the same as I do. So my mum would take him to my matches.
Right.
Yeah.
I always remember you, Shelley, telling me before as well about your parents, because John Joe played for Kilkenny for so long. Your parents sometimes drove from a women's National League game or a championship game down somewhere else to see him playing as well. Yeah. You've had days like that, haven't you?
Yeah, I think it was Galway we were playing last year, and Kilkenny were playing, the hurlers were playing down in Thurles, and they went from Galway to Thurles down to
in the one afternoon
just to try and get the 2 matches in. But sure, they love it. Like, they'd follow us everywhere, and it's brilliant that they're so interested, and I think that's why we have such interest at home.
And you're blessed too, probably, as well. And a lot of you have, obviously, Sarah Carey, you have it in the family. Your dad played and won in All-Ireland as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
Ashling, did you have it at inter-county level in your family, or where did the passion come from?
Mum played, actually, I think, inter-county football.
Oh, really?
But they won 2 All-Ireland close with Newtown Chandram as well.
Which we all associate with the hurling.
Yeah.
So big for hurling.
But her thing was athletics, really. She actually, when she had Michael, which would be my oldest brother, I don't think she was too far off the Irish team.
Really?
At that point, yeah. So
distance running or
she was a marathon runner.
Yeah, because you have the endurance. Yeah.
And then Dad he just hurled at Newtown. I don't know. Like Michael, then like Nigel played alright for a while, but he's more into the gym and stuff. And then Michael is just, he loves everything and he's good at everything too.
Is he? Right,
like
an all-rounder.
He plays golf, soccer, hurling, and he's brilliant. Apparently, they'd be telling me blowing Newtown at the running as well. But
really?
I don't know. I don't know.
It.
It's just different parts.
Genes can be a factor. I was curious actually, and I was wondering about all of you. If you didn't play camogie, what would you have done sports-wise? I mean, what would have been the one that you think you would have done? Sarah, Carey?
I never ever did anything other than camogie.
Really?
Ever. Oh my God, I tried one Gaelic football match and I hadn't passed the ball into the goals. I said, never again. I have 2 left feet. I don't know, God only knows where I'd be if I didn't have camogie.
And it was always probably going to be camogie in your
Always,
house.
yeah, God, ever since a young age.
Yeah, your
That's
dad,
all I
Kieran,
remember.
and obviously his family are steeped in it.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Is steeped in
yeah,
it.
all I remember is going to see my uncles and my dad play hurling.
Yeah, and Sarah, did you ever do anything else?
I played volleyball in school, in secondary school.
Did you?
So I absolutely loved it.
And were you good?
Well, we got it, myself and another girl got a call to the Irish team. But it was very intense and they were going off to Germany and all that kind of thing, travelling, and it just wasn't me. Unfortunately, I said no. It was clashing with camogie, so
it was the problem.
Yeah, so I said camogie would always come first because it's in, like, as the girl was saying, it's in our blood. Like,
Yeah.
Both my brothers played, like, so I followed them anywhere. Club challenge match,
anything
below anywhere.
And Shelley, you told me I'm not good at anything except camogie, and I thought, well, you're so good at camogie, you don't have to be good at. But was there ever a question of any other sport being played for you? I mean, Thomastown, I'm guessing, may not have had a lot of sport to offer girls outside of GA.
No, yeah, it was really just camogie in Thomastown, but I went to school in Callan, in Clenny, and
they were volleyball.
They were very good
They
at
were good
volleyball.
at, yeah.
Anna played with them. She was on the Irish team as well.
Was she?
For a while, yeah.
Wow.
But we played a bit of football there with Callan, so
Right.
I enjoyed the football now. It was good, but
yeah, was it who was telling me on the Kilkenny team that somebody play soccer in the winters when there's no
Denise Gallin.
Denise Gallin is Anne Dalton good soccer player as well?
They'd be very good at it. Gallin would be brilliant at everything that game. She puts her hand to.
She's a real natural as well.
Yeah.
And Ashling, if it wasn't camogie for you and you look at other sports, we were only talking about the Winter Olympics, like what would you love to have had a lash at?
I played football alright underage intercounty. But I suppose there always comes a time, and kind of living where I am, like I'm practically Limerick, so
yeah,
it's just you have to pick, like you have to choose. But I did everything really. I went to St Mary's in Charleville, so we did like basketball and we did the athletics and we did the hurling and
a lot of girls. You get that variety at school, but then in your area sometimes there just isn't other stuff to do. Do you know, if you grew up in a small town,
probably
football, you think you would?
I'd say it would have been.
But had another dual star in Cork. You've had enough of them over the years.
Enough of them, yeah.
So we talked about you. But I'm curious as well about, I suppose, when you came in, you said, have you got the fixtures? Where are our semi-finals on? And you didn't even know, and it's a Wednesday before your semi-finals. What are the challenges that you face? And I'm curious as well because Sarah, Dervan and Ashling are slightly older, so ye may have seen
just slightly
only a couple of years but you may have seen more changes and maybe more improvements than the others. So Sarah, maybe we start with you. Like what has changed? When did you first start playing for Galway?
Well, I suppose when I first started playing with the seniors was 2008.
Okay, so 10 years ago.
Yeah, pretty much. Doesn't feel like that now. I hope I don't look like that.
No, it doesn't look like
that. Things have. They are getting better. In fairness, they are. Pitches, like we're getting, I think this year now we've been for the hurlers in the Galway hurlers in the league, and then when we were with Wexford, we were after the hurlers.
So you played two double headers.
Where I suppose back then they weren't really heard of. I remember a time, now I don't know but look, we played a match, I think it was actually, we played below in Clare in Innis, and I think we were before the hurlers. I think Clare hurlers were playing Dublin, and we weren't allowed back off the pitch. We weren't allowed back into the dressing rooms. So
literally no dressing room.
No, they they told us we weren't allowed in and kind of escorted us out from the dressing rooms out into the basically the street where our gear bags were left, and we had to go into a bus and change.
Right.
So it was just little things like that was, I suppose, very degrading as camogie players, as females, that you know, our dressing rooms were gone and we were literally, everything was put outside the grounds. But now look, things are improving. They are changing. Like crowds are getting bigger. You know, there's more followers. You know, like Littlewoods this year now and last year have been brilliant advocates for camogie, and Liberty as well for the championship. So it's improving. It's definitely improving, and the support is growing. I just wish it's getting better quicker, but it's getting there. And little girls and everything like that, I think it's important for them to be seeing camogie and like even ladies football in a good light, and something
to see it more often.
And to be wanting to go to matches and want to play the game and stay playing the game, because sometimes I think between the age of 14, 16 and 14 and 18 there's a big drop out there.
Huge drop. And we know that statistically much bigger drop in girls than there is in boys.
So the more we can improve camogie, the better. Like,
Ashling, what about you? What are your experiences, and how do you see things improving, and is it fast enough, and what would you like to see?
Well, I haven't been around that long. I will just put it in there. I went...
when was your first game?
It was secondary school, alright, was when I came onto the panel. I think I was around 16, 17 maybe, but I just knew I was too big for my boots, like. So then I don't know, things happened, I suppose, and then I took a few years out or whatever.
Yeah, and then you got...
and then I got back to it after our first Club All-Ireland.
Yeah.
So that would have been 2013.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that long ago, which I'm very thankful for as well. I just think I'm hitting my peak a lot.
And do you see progress in the sort of, you know, challenges that you face in terms of support systems and access to things and recognition and coverage?
I do, I do. I think there's a huge improvement in the last few years when it comes to, like Sarah said, double headers and stuff like that. And just, although we actually haven't seen a double header now in I don't know how long.
I was going to say, when did Cork last play a double header?
We tried, of course, for this weekend, but with the snow and that, like, I'd say the pitch would hardly be playable for one. Look, we haven't had one in a long, long time.
The league semi-finals were played as a double header last year in Thailand, which was actually a great day. Great occasion. Have you ever played a double header with the men's game in Cork?
Never.
No.
I've played in Páirc Uí Chaoimh once before the new stadium was built, so that's never ever happened. And
when you played in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, the only time you played in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, what was it? Was it a league game or championship game or club game?
We played Offaly. I think it could have been...
It was an inter-county game anyway.
Yeah, it was inter-county and it was about 30 degrees. That's how I'll never forget it.
Stuck in the head.
Yeah, look, it is improving, like, constantly, definitely. Like, we've come so far, I think, in the last few years, but I think social media has had a huge impact on that.
Do you?
Sponsorships has had a huge impact on it. Like Littlewoods, of course, and their style of play, which is another aspect, you know.
The hashtag style of play thing,
which
gets
brings
it out
more
there.
attention again to social media, more of an audience to a younger crowd. It, you know, showcases an individual and different styles and all that, like, so it's just a great incentive and a great way of bringing, like, camogie to light and kind of showing people and again showcasing.
That's extraordinary. You've only ever played in Páirc Uí Chaoimh once.
Yeah.
And that lovely new stadium down there, Ashling, would they ever let you in? For God's sake, I'll go down myself.
I'd say Tracy Kennedy will, like,
Tracy Kennedy, who's the new GA chairperson in Cork.
Yeah, it's great to have a woman in there.
You think she could have an influence there?
Absolutely. But look, we don't complain much either. I think women are great not to complain too.
It's true.
Like, we just get on with it because we're so used to it. Like, we love expenses, we love all this kind of stuff, do you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's the sport is what we love to do. And, you know, when changes come along, that's great. And it is improving the whole time.
And Shelley, I always got the impression that Kilkenny actually were a little bit ahead in supporting the camogie side. Am I wrong in thinking that, or just because they had so much success and such high profile players in the past that I always got the impression that maybe you got better access to pitches and better support? Am I right or wrong, or has it?
Yeah, like the county board, the hurling county board would help us out whenever they can. Like, we'd get Nolan Park before a big match, or if we needed to train there, it's brilliant, like to have the facility. but we usually train out in it's a new pitch that was set up for James Stevens, their pitch.
Oh,
so
right.
it's great out there.
That's like your home pitch
Yeah,
then?
we'd usually train there, and we get that. Our nights would be Tuesday, Thursdays, and we'd get that
Right,
Tuesday, Thursday.
okay.
So it's brilliant to have that. And even for if we ever needed help with sponsorship or that in Kilkenny, I think the GA really does help us there.
Do you have the same sponsor as the men's team?
We're Intersport now this year.
Right, but
And
last year
the year before,
you had
we
the
got
same.
Glanbia,
Glanbia,
who
were the county, the men's county board. And did it help to have the same sponsor?
Yeah, it did. I thought
In what way?
I thought it kind of people were looking at Camogie more as well because of Glanbia sponsoring both the hurling and the Camogie, and we had Glanbia launches and that, so they would have known what we were playing, what matches were on at the time. So
Yeah,
it was
they kind of
great
promoted you both jointly.
and they gave us a lot of free milk as well, so that was
Yes.
after the training.
No complaints there. And Sarah, what about you? Where do you think it's moved, and how has it improved? I mean, I've heard your dad Kieran complaining about the way you're treated, and as Ashling said, women don't complain. Sometimes men complain on their behalf. Nearly.
Our resources are really poor now down in Limerick. We're in Rathkeil. We're on at 8:30 at night after the boys, like on the AstroTurf.
8:30 at night?
8:30 at night, yeah.
That is not helping you in any way.
No, it's crazy. Before that, we were over on a field at lights, like you couldn't even see each other, let alone the ball. And you're getting pure agitated at each other and at management, and it was tough like that. So that's where we are at the moment. We're still kind of behind everybody else.
And do you think does that have to do with the fact that you need to win something to sort of get people on side and get sponsors on side? Because is this your fourth year to make the league semi-finals in a row? Am I right in thinking that? Third or fourth year?
Oh God, I remember like as if.
Yeah, I think it's the fourth year in a row to make the league semi-finals. You just need to make that jump up.
Yeah, I'd say yeah. Well, we winning the Munster final last year. Like you'd imagine that things would improve, but they didn't really. We've amazing sponsors. The Woodlands House Hotel in Adair are our sponsors. They're unreal to us. Like they give us free membership to the gym, and they'd always look after us before or after a game, or
great
if we'd meetings or anything. Like they're amazing. So they're on board the last few years. So things have been really positive since they come.
Right. So you need good sponsors.
You definitely do. Yeah.
And you can't get good sponsors if they're not seeing you on TV, or as you say, the use of social media now is fantastic to get sponsors as well, and to attract crowds as well. That's interesting. So you kind of generally feel you feel you're still struggling for the
still
basics,
behind,
but you feel that it's improving.
Yeah.
I do remember one time. I remember Galway being in an All Ireland final about 9-10 years ago, and they couldn't get pitch to train on.
Yeah.
So things have improved.
They've improved, but it's still not right at the same time.
Yeah,
that's
realistic.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it's improving, and you can't really complain that much, but.
I saw Aoife Murray make a very good point this year, because the Women's Football League this year had, I think they scheduled 8 double headers, and Aoife was saying that in some ways it's demeaning that you have to be the curtain raiser, and she made the example of for a men's under 21 game, and she's playing 17 years for Cork or whatever.
Yeah.
But do you think double headers are the way, Ashling? Do they help?
I do.
If a double header with a men's game?
Yeah. I do think they help, but like if we're going to make it a thing, like double headers a thing, I think it should be like consistent every year.
Yeah.
Because I do think at the same time it's a lot of pressure. Like I feel like if we played with the boys, now it's not that I don't want the double headers. It's brilliant to bring the audience again, of course, and promoting the game, but I just think it's an awful lot of pressure as well.
Isn't that interesting?
If the crowds do turn up, and I think it was great who played the last day, and the women played after, which I thought was nice.
Yeah, that was Wexford. Was that Wexford Galway? I think.
Yeah,
was it? You played after the men's game.
Yeah.
And I presume people hung on to watch you, did they?
They did, but it was great. It was brilliant in one sense, but then the warm up, the crowd invaded the pitch, so we got it very hard to get our warm up done because they were walking. Now, look, it wasn't fault to anyone. People do it. The crowd was there for the first half, but then they dwindled away for the second half, and then it was just your core believers, your parents, your mother and father.
Yeah, your mother and father, definitely in your case. But Shelley, I remember, was it 2 years ago when the 2 All-Ireland semi-finals went to replays, and they were played together, and they were played ahead of the Kilkenny-Waterford game. I remember Kilkenny saying you felt that people saw you that day. You know, they came in early for the men's game, and they saw the quality of you, and they reacted to it.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Like, even near towards the end, like, it was so tight as well in the match, and just the crowd even shouting you on would drive it on way more. Like,
I just think they love it down in Kilkenny, though. I think they're brilliant to support.
Do you? Yeah, they're more.
Oh, because they're just so into it, though. Like, it's life.
Religion,
like,
let's face it.
It's religion. Yeah, like, I think Cork is very kind of as in it's into a lot of things. Like,
it is, and also you've the football and the hurling, neither the twain meet.
That's
even
what I'm
in
saying. Like,
it's true. Yeah, but come back to that point you made. I think that's a really interesting point. You're saying you be careful what you wish for in some ways, because if you get bigger crowds, the game has to live up to that, and ye as athletes have to live up to that. And I often think that one of the advantages of being a female team sport is you don't get scrutinised the way the men do. Would you reckon that's true, or have you taken flack when you've not played badly? Shelley?
Well, you wouldn't get as much from media, and say people higher up kind of in the media, maybe your family and that would give you a bit. You wouldn't
have a word with the Farrells. You're just ultra competitive.
But you know, like, you wouldn't have people tweeting about you, or, you know, like the hurlers would have to. Yeah. They'd have people like, Jesus, he was useless or whatever. Like, imagine having to see that after a match. Like, if you played bad, or it'd be just a lot lot
Yeah, I think there's that in it. Like, you're not under as much public scrutiny. It is. I know. Look, we'd love to have huge crowds, but as an athlete, sometimes being under less scrutiny. Sometimes, because you were saying you feel the pressure if there's a big crowd. You don't ever show it.
Oh, you would, of course. Yeah, it's like it's pressure, but it's a buzz as well.
Yeah, it is a buzz. Yeah, you played last year's Littlewoods Division 1 final was played before the men's in Limerick. Yeah. And there was a great crowd came in for it. Did you notice that? There was a good crowd there that day.
You'd notice it coming towards the second half, like they'd never be in for the full match, but you notice it more near the end, like, and it really would drive you on, like,
I think they're the way forward, but as I said, they won't always work, and as you said, it has to be a consistent thing, that it happens every year, because when it's an occasional one, people don't even know it's on, you know, there is a double header. They might arrive down and say, oh, the women were playing, we didn't even know they were playing. Yeah, exactly.
And put us on the tickets as well, like.
And put you, exactly. Well, that'd be nice too. And recently, the GA, the Camogie Association, and the Ladies Football have announced this sort of notional idea of integration. You know, that the three associations will work together in the future, and it has to be passed by each one. They've kind of made an initial memorandum, and they have to be passed by the central councils of each association, actually in March. But, like, does that make a blind bit of difference to you, Sarah, as a Limerick Camogie player?
No, not really. Like, I don't. No, I wouldn't buy into it too much.
I don't think it's going to change anything in the near future.
No,
anyway.
Probably not by the time when I'm finished, maybe. But I can't see that happening anytime soon.
Yeah.
But like that, you don't, like, we don't take too much notice of it. Like, we're used to the way we're being treated. Like, you know, like that, we don't complain. We just get on with it and do it for the love of the game.
Yeah. If I gave you all a magic wand and I said one thing, I'd give you a wand and say, look, I can change one thing about Camogie this year, what would it be, Ashling? I'm putting you under pressure.
Like.
If there's anything you could change this year. Shelley, any ideas? If I said to you, what would you like me to change in the morning to make it easier for you to be the best that you could be as an inter-county player?
Well, it wouldn't really apply to me as a dual player, but like fixtures kind of for ladies football and Camogie, not crossovers there, like.
Yeah, that still remains a huge issue. Sarah, what about you?
Get rid of the skirts.
Really? Just play shorts.
My legs do not like
the skirts. I like the material because it feels like you've nothing on. You know what I mean? But no, just make them not, like, once you fall over, like, it's game over.
My legs do not like them at all.
Would you prefer shorts?
I would, because I'd never go training with the skirt on.
Yeah,
I'd always go training with the shorts.
So are we all in favour of shorts? Okay, we'll pass that memorandum to Croke Park. Get rid of the skirts, please, and just go for shorts. Yeah. Just because it's the Littlewoods social media, the hashtag is style of play. I was curious, what is the most stylish piece of camogie you've ever seen? Like the most stylish thing a player that's ever done that you went, oh my God, what skill? Does anybody have one that comes to mind that they really wowed them in training or in playing?
I have one. I suppose it was we were at the worst end of it. It was the All-Ireland final in I think 2011. I think we played Wexford, and Ursula Jacob got the ball, and I think it was ground. She pulled on it, but oh my God, she roofed it. It was just unbelievable.
You can remember telling.
I think it was on TJ Cahir for goal of the year. And
unbelievable piece of skill.
It was a devastating blow to us, but I was just like, oh my God, like how
even as a player, even as an opponent, you're going, oh my God, how did she do that?
Like it just felt her, and she connected unreal on it, like, and roofed it. There's no stopping it, like, and I just, I was like, if other people did that, like in the men's sport, they'd be everywhere, like, and I remember being on TJ Cahir and up for goal of the year, and every time I looked at it I was like, God, I hate you, but I was like, you have to give her to her, like, it was unbelievable.
Oh yeah, and that's what the style of play thing, the idea of it is, I think, for people to understand just how skillful you are and to recognise that. Anybody else got one? I mean, I thought Julia White's. I hate to bring it up. Shelley, tell the listeners about that one.
I don't know how she got the shot in. Like, I remember we saw a picture afterwards, and two little Kenny hurls were right beside the ball. Like, I don't know how she did it.
And this was the deep in 7 minutes in injury time to beat you in the All Ireland final last year, and she came off the bench for Cork. Ashling will remember it happily. But even as it was happened so fast. I cannot understand how she got that shot off. It was incredible.
I thought I was praying for a draw, because I remember when Miriam got the point and you were ahead by one, and I was like, it's a big job. I knew we had 6 minutes, but I was like, it's going to be a big job to equalise. And when Gemma equalised from midfield, I'd say
unbelievable. Gemma O'Connor, she got the equaliser.
Okay, we'll be lucky.
We're going for a draw here. We'll go for a replay.
So it's you'd nearly have to pinch yourself, to be honest. Like, it was just fairy tale stuff, really, I suppose. You just fair play to her though for coming off the bench.
Came off the bench, and as I said, what a piece of skill. It was sensational. She had some
Leroy,
she really did. She did, and it was surrounded. She sticks on all sides of her. And
I think any other player in that moment, not necessarily would panic, but would definitely see two players coming towards them, like, and turn back. But she got it and just hit it, and
it was a sensational finish.
Lucky,
but it was a brilliant piece of skill. I think to get it there.
Yeah.
And as we're talking about, before we finish up, for the style of play, I was curious, who's the most stylish in terms of fashion sense on your teams? Who's the one who's big into style? What about Limerick, Sarah?
Oh God, now give me a minute. I
think you'd be pretty good yourself.
Oh God.
Sarah Dervan?
Probably Tara Kenny.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, she'd be rocking up with little hats on her and everything. And you're like, Jesus, I'd love to wear that. And just looks unreal on her every time.
Shelley, what about you?
I think Denise Gall has her own sense of style.
She's her own sense of style, is that what you say?
She loves a good pair of tight pants and like Air Max.
And I know in your house, your sisters steal your clothes all the time. And Anna has admitted to me in the past, even though they don't fit her, she still takes them.
All the time, yeah.
Ashling, what about Cork?
I don't know. I think everyone has their own individual style. There's a lot of different personalities on that team.
Is there?
So the style ranges from plain to absolutely outrageous.
Outrageous. And what about Sarah? Sarah Carey, coming back to Limerick.
I'd give it to Judith Mulcahy, definitely.
Judith?
Yeah, she's like that. She's her own style and always had, I remember playing with Judith since her under 12s. And she was always the one that you'd be admiring. And
there's a gang of Mulcahy sisters playing down there as well, so there's probably a bit of clothes stealing that goes on down there as well.
Getting ready the nights before we go out, and there'd be always a bit of drama taking each other's clothes.
Look, it's been a great year for Camogie. It's the first time there's ever been an All-Stars tour. Ashling and Sarah Dervan, you were both on it together as well. Was that something important as well, Ashling?
Yeah, I think it's just nice to get something back, I suppose, and like All Stars and things like that, I think people play them down too much.
Really?
Like it's a great achievement, and it's kind of icing on the cake at times, I suppose, and it's just nice to celebrate that. But I think what's even nicer then as well is like not only is it just that year, it's the previous year and some nominees and stuff.
Yeah, so they come as well. And you get to meet people from other
but that's it, like
other counties.
You're one person on the field. Like,
was it you or somebody else was saying like that actually on the All-Stars tour you were hanging out with the Kilkenny girls who just you'd played in the All-Ireland final. Like exactly. That's nice.
Everyone kind of got to know each other because, you know, you're completely different when you're on the field and off, and people get the right perspective and the wrong, and I just think it was nice for everyone to get to know each other and just create more of a community spirit, I suppose.
And what about you, Sarah? Did you feel the same way?
Oh, I thought it was just brilliant. It was so funny because Downey was actually our manager, like, and you know, I always think, and like, is a serious woman on the line, like,
terrifying.
You know, she's just unreal, like, but she was a genuinely lovely woman, like, and I remember we were doing the warm up for the match, and we're, you know, hitting the ball to one another and we're going, pass, and she was like, turn around and she's like, don't say call your names, and we're like, Jesus.
She's taking this a bit seriously.
But outside that, she was a terrific woman. Like, she was lovely and she'd speak to you.
So when she's in competition mode, it's
and like Paddy Murray is same as well. Like, you know, you'd always kind of look at them on the line, you're like, I hate them so much because, you know, they're so clued in and, you know, all that, and
they're beating us.
yeah, exactly. And they were just like, as Ashling was saying, like, you know, meeting girls, and, you know, you've met friends for life nearly over there, like, you know, Denise Gall, like, and I found her a complete character, like, you know, she
is good fun.
She was just the best crack. And, you know, Niamh Mulcahy and Michaela Markin, girls I wouldn't see
awfully,
see, you know, Monday to Friday or whatever, and just on the pitch for an hour, but, you know, it was just genuinely a brilliant experience.
And the men have had it for a long time, and ladies football have had it for a long time. So I think it was a big step forward to get it. You deserve to have it, and it's a really important thing. Recognition for you as star players, but also to give you time together, to get to know each other, to, you know, learn stuff, you know, and even as you're saying, Sarah, learn about what's happening in other counties. How would that help us? What could we do to have the same things? Do you know, like, I think there's that element of finding out what your rights are and what your needs are, and seeing how you could, you know, sometimes you can learn from other counties. I think there's a bit of that there as well. Before we finish, we also thought #style of play that we should ask you, what is your greatest crime? Fashion crime? We've all had them. Don't pretend you haven't had them. Ashling?
You can come back to me. So many.
You're telling me you've never had one?
No, I definitely have. I'd say the skirts are the crime anyway.
Shelley, what about you?
Geez, I've plenty, but I remember Denise Gall gave me a pair of bright orange shorts in college. I wore them out that night, like, they could have been burned afterwards. It was scandalous. And I still get stick about it.
You used to share do you still get stick about it? You used to share a house with her at one point,
did you? Did. And Katie Power as well, we shared a house.
Can you imagine that house?
Two other girls, Sarah Fitzgerald, she's on the Leash team.
Oh, right.
And Anya Doran, then she's basically.
So that must have been some crack.
Yeah, it was brilliant. It was a great experience.
There might have been a few crime of fashions there. What about you, Sarah?
Have to be my bathrobe.
Your bathrobe.
I'd wear it around the house full time, even going out pucking. I'm just, any of my friends are like, are you seriously wearing that? I'm a cold creator, like, so.
You're always wearing your dressing gown, basically.
Yeah, the boyfriend has me banished from wearing that. Are you really wearing that again? I'm like, yes.
So you'd even go out practicing with the dressing gown on.
Yeah,
I love
just
it.
for warmth, like.
Just for the warmth. Yeah. Well, the last few weeks you must have been pretty cold. What about you, Sarah?
There are tracksuit pants we got a few years ago, I'd say 2014. And they're just really comfy, like, they're huge, you know, they're big baggy ones. Yeah, but they're just so comfortable to try on after training, you know, if you're wet or whatever, or just after a shower, but you get an
We've all got a pair of those.
Yeah.
So you're not letting go of them?
No, I'll hold on to for that while.
All right, guys. Well, look, and thanks a million for coming in. It's, as I said, it's the first time that the Off the Ball studio here has had an all-women, a whole crew all-women, which is a little bit of history for us on Off the Bench as well. We wish you really great luck. You're all going to be fighting against each other next Sunday, so best of luck with the league semi-finals. The Littlewoods Ireland National Camogie League semi-finals, they take place on Sunday the 11th of March. The games are also being streamed live on Littlewoods Ireland's Facebook page, and you can also follow this #style of play as well to get all the social media on Camogie News. as for us on Off the Bench, we will be back hopefully in 2 weeks' time. You can find all our previous episodes on iTunes or on the podcast section of Off the Ball. If you enjoyed this episode or our previous ones, please pass them on. We have a Twitter account. It's at Off the Bench OTM. That's capital OTM. And we post a lot of stuff up there, not about women's sport in Ireland, but actually about international women's sport, about, you know, the battle for equality, just for stuff that's happening. We were the first people to talk about the Women's Australian Rules League that Cora Staunton is now playing in. So there's always new stuff coming up there. So the Twitter again is at Off the Bench OTB. That's OTB, capital letters. If there's anything you think we should be covering that we haven't done, and we like to get to stuff that other people aren't covering, let us know as well through the Twitter account. We hope to bring back also our famous every 2 weeks we used to have, bringing it back, the discussion, which usually is called a rant, where we all have debate about things that are going on in women's sport. So that should be back in our next episode yet. So until then, enjoy your sport, people, and take care. Thank you.
Hey, hope you enjoyed that latest offering from Off the Ball. If you want to subscribe, and you should, check out just up here. All our latest stuff is just down here. Generally, knock yourself out.